Evelyn to Philip, April 11th, 1945. Dearest Phil, well, dearest one, I must admit that your long letter of March 20th to the 24th nearly floored me. No, I am terribly sorry if I gave you the impression that I wanted you to have relations with other women. I don't, but definitely. As for that time in bed when I mentioned something to that effect, I said, I don't think I would mind, end quote. But I think differently now. I would mind, very much. The only reason why I spoke as I did was because it seemed to me that you were very, very standoffish and more or less shy with strangers, particularly women, or at least that was the impression I had of you until I received your 22-page manuscript. What I meant, and this is the God's honest truth, was that I wanted you to relax and not be so formal and observant when you are with the opposite sex. In several of your letters, you seemed so prudish that it amazed me. For instance, dancing with other girls. I sometimes wish that you would dance so that you'd pick it up and become more adept at it. You only learn from practice, you know, and now's your time to practice. I don't want to give you the idea that I am encouraging you to go out of your way in this connection, but it seems to me that you'd enjoy things more if you took part in them and not be too conscious of what other people would consider the formal, proper thing. Many were the times when I felt that I was trying you in this respect, and you know darn well that I don't like to make you do things you don't want to do unless you really want to. I think you are kind of stiff and proper about many things, and I feel you'd do better if you weren't so conscious of it. You know, sweet, in a way it would be changing you. I love you because you are you, but I feel it would be to your benefit, that's all. If you wish to pay attention to what I've said, is entirely up to you. I realize how hard it is for one to change his attitude, so that's why I merely said to relax and have fun. I started this at work, and I'm continuing at home. I do feel that a woman is more self-sufficient sexually in any case than a man. Of course, there may be exceptions, but I'm sure you are one of the exceptions. There have been times when I felt very badly because you could not have sex relations or have someone to love a bit as I love Adele. However, I know that once you return, we'll make up double for all the time that passed. No, darling, everything you feel in this respect means as much to me as it does to you. I'm terribly proud of you for your constancy, which brings me to quote a remark Petey once made. Quote, I think Phil is the only guy I'd swear for, end quote. As for your concern in connection with my constancy, let me say this, quote, there is and will always be only one guy in this world for me, and that guy is you no matter what, end quote. Enough said? A large portion of one sheet was cut out of your letter. You spoke about a hum in the sky, and the rest was cut. Another something we'll have to save for, quote, someday, end quote. The gewgaw arrived today, and I could scarcely wait until I got it home to open it. I had an idea all along that it was a bracelet, and it was just what I wanted. Can you imagine my disappointment then when I found that the bracelet was not molded correctly and does not fit my wrist properly? In fact, it falls off if I move my arm a bit. Do you think it can be remolded correctly? I'm very much surprised that you didn't notice it yourself. It doesn't even fit Mom's arm properly, and she has a much heavier arm. If you had tried it on your wrist, I'm sure you would have noticed the defect. I'm really heartbroken because it is very lovely and should look very well with the heart locket. Thanks so much anyway, and perhaps we can do something to have it fit properly. It should look very nice engraved with some sort of a gold finish, but I think it would be smartest to wait because I'd like to know the bracelet fits properly before I have it engraved. Mom received your Jewish letter of April 1st and was quite thrilled to hear from you again. There was no mail for me, but I am looking forward to something from you tomorrow. Betty Jane still has not arrived, and I hope she'll show up soon to satisfy Adele. Yale and Shirley are in town on a surprise furlough. They were here this afternoon and promised to stop here again before leaving so that they can see me. Shirley's sister, who used to live on 7th Street, now lives in Oak Lane. Mom tells me that Shirley is carrying very small. Remember Renee and Meyer? Well, Renee gave birth to a little boy a few days ago. The Browns called to tell us that they finally had word from Sid that he landed safely. April 13th will be Harry and Goldie's 2nd anniversary, and they are out celebrating this evening. Harry had promised to buy her a good gold band for her wristwatch, but once they got in town, they found the prices ridiculously high and gave it up as a bad job. So she'll settle for a cord band. Her original cord band wore out and broke. I saw Faye yesterday, and she told me that her mother has decided to take that apartment down the shore, and Faye will leave for the shore next month for the entire summer. She invited me to come down any weekend I wished with Adele, and she'd put me up. I thought that was kind of nice of her. Whether I'll be able to take her up on it is another question, although I hope to on at least one occasion, providing you aren't home by that time. I hope. I'm glad you passed your test in typing. Do you mean to tell me that they as much as intended to take your corporal stripe away if you didn't pass? Boy, the Army sure does have its nerve. It was a close call, and I'm glad you made it. I am enclosing the snap that Goldie's relatives made of Mom, Adele, and myself sometime in February. Mom doesn't look bad, but Adele looks terrible. I think I look best of all, don't you? And the funniest part of it all is that I wasn't made up or combed up. How about that? Just shows to go you. Adele is her normal self once more. I happened to get to talking with several of the mothers in this neighborhood and discovered that their children are going to receive only 3 scarlet fever injections and a dick test, which is supposed to be the very latest method. I called Dr. Gale immediately to inform him of this, as the mothers had told me that their children had no ill effects whatever. Dr. Gale gives anywhere from 5 to 7 shots, and then a dick test to see if it proves. He explained that the 3-shot method is brand new and hadn't been proved as yet. Since such was the case, and since he knows definitely that the old system works, he asked me to please continue, and I shall. I told him I hated to make Adele suffer unnecessarily if it could be prevented, and he told me he was doing all he could to see that she didn't. Adele is her normal self and even ate a bowl of cereal for the first time in months this morning. Her appetite was good all day, and we both slept like logs from 9:30 last night till 7 this morning. Need I say how good I felt after such a night of rest? I bathed Adele, washed her hair, washed some clothes, showered myself, washed and set my own hair before starting this, and because it is now 11:30 and I am falling asleep on the typewriter, I shall good night, darling. I love you dearly and wish very much that I could cuddle up to you. In fact, I think I will. Move over and make room for your Ev.